Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So, there is an amazing new feature out on X, which is you can click on anyone's account and see where their account is from, where they're based. And this is going to be such an improvement for political speech online because you'll very easily be able to see when someone is talking about America and American politics, where are they actually from? Are they from India? Are they from Israel? Are they from Russia? Are they from Nigeria? You can see when somebody says, oh, we as a country, we have to do this. What do you mean we? You're from Nepal. Why are you saying we as in we Americans have to do this? You're from Indonesia. So this is going to actually be super, super helpful because one of the things Elon wanted to do was get rid of all the bots and basically the bot accounts, the scammers. And this is kind of part of that. People disingenuously pretending that they're from the United States when they're really not. When they're trying to get involved in the United States politics and be vocal leaders in US politics, and they're not from the United States. And a lot of the time, they are paid to do that. They are paid shills to shill for one country or another, to pretend, to infiltrate, to pretend they're part of the MAGA movement, to pretend they're American citizens and say, we really need to do this as a group. As MAGA people, we really have to do this. As America Firsters, we really have to do this. It's like, dude, you're from India. Nobody cares what your opinion is. So I am excited about this new development. And people are very, very quickly finding out who online, the major speakers in American politics, who actually belong there. And this is not to say that you can't say things about American politics or the politics of another country. I myself have commented on other countries like Japan and France and England. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't think anybody has a problem with that. The problem is when you're pretending that you're from that country, when you're pretending to be part of that group, when you're trying to be the definitive vocal advocate for those people, the speaker of the people of that country. You don't live there. You don't belong there. You don't have the right to vote there. So we want a lot of people out of U.S. politics because right now everybody wants to be involved in U.S. politics because we run the world. Sorry, that's how it is. And so everybody wants to get their hands in and get a piece of the pie so that they can influence the politics of America to lean one way or another. Oh, we love H-1Bs. We the MAGA people love H-1Bs, written by a bunch of Indian accounts or Chinese accounts. We love the Chinese students written by Chinese bot accounts. So this is going to be very helpful for that to, one, just identify people, but two, just bring back politics back to America. American politics are for Americans. Yeah, the rest of the world wants to influence us because we run the place, but we shouldn't let them. We should not let countries that are, in a sense, subjugated by the United States, whether that's financially or culturally or whatnot, they shouldn't get a say in what the United States does and the way our politics go. Because, of course, they're going to advocate, and you'd be dumb not to. Of course, they're going to advocate for their own interests. And no one's saying that it's bad for them to advocate for their own interest. I can just also be upset about it, right? As an American, I want to advocate for my interests in America. That makes sense. If you're from Nepal, if you're from a country, a third world country that receives a lot of aid from the United States, then it makes sense that it is in your best interest to try to influence the United States in such a way that they provide aid to your country. That's in your own best interest. You don't hate the player, you hate the game. But I can still not want it to happen. I can still want to change the rules of the game. I can still not want these people to be able to pretend to be U.S. citizens and speak as though they're U.S. citizens, and that this policy that gives money to other countries, this policy that opens up diversity or brings in people from all over the world, I don't want them to pretend that's actually a policy that's going to benefit Americans. And so this, if anything, should declutter Twitter. It should make it slightly more transparent. I know people are going to be upset about this, and anybody who's upset about this is people who don't like admitting where they're from. That's it, right? Either you're embarrassed where you're from, your grift is over, the only people affected by this are people who are offended by where they're from. And anybody who has been transparent about that is getting a lot less flack for it. It's the people who, and it's just going to be, comment sections are just going to be flooded. Somebody's going to make a statement, America is a place where we love diversity. And then every comment will just be like, you're from India, you're from India, you're from India, you're from India. Like, your opinion disregarded. It's a very good test. You can just immediately disregard people's opinions because they're not from here. Unless they're somebody who makes like a very valid point or whatnot. But even the people who, like Piers Morgan and whatnot, at some point it's like, why is Piers Morgan in the like American zeitgeist as like a representative for us? Like, this isn't your country. Why do we kind of follow people who are not Americans? They're trying to bring over ideals that aren't American. You're from another country. You're born in another country. You're going to have a different culture. You're probably going to have a different set of beliefs. Just you being here in the conversation is a problem because you're looking at it from a completely different angle. You did not grow up in the rural Midwest. You did not grow up in the rural South. You did not grow up in a New England city. You do not know what it's like to be American, what it's actually like to grow up in America, what is going on in the country because you do not live here. So even the people who do make good points, it's fine to keep that in the periphery and kind of have, okay, yeah, this person made a good point. They're from another country and they say we do stuff like this. And that's usually what I try to keep my stuff to is, some observations, slight recommendations, stuff where you're like, look, Korea, Japan, get your birth rates up. I'm not telling them how to run their country. I'm not pretending to be from either of those countries, but it's okay to have voices from different countries. Say things online in a way that you can identify it and then say, you know what, actually, I don't care what somebody from Europe thinks. I don't care what somebody from Asia thinks. And before, you didn't have that transparency. You didn't really know unless they outed themselves or were very clearly like English second language. You wouldn't really know. But this is a good development. At a time when everything is so chaotic and the right in general, being my side of the political aisle, the right has just been stuffed with so many people. They've been trying to do what the Democrats did before of let's get everybody in on this coalition. And it's turned into such a clown show. And that's why we're kind of cleaning house. We're getting rid of people who just do not represent the Republican Party anymore. Not just like conservatives in general, what it actually means to be America first. That's why you're kicking out people like Ben Shapiro from, what is the ideology? You're kicking out Mark Levine and Ben Shapiro and saying you're not really welcome here anymore. You're not wanted. And this is going to make it easier for people who just don't belong in that united Republican Party. Foreigners, people who like aren't even here legally or illegally, just don't even live here. You're kicking all those people out from the conversation and saying, no, we're going to keep this to actually we're going to make the club a little smaller. We opened it up too big. Now there's too many people in the room. We got to reduce it down a little bit and get to actually who are the people that are going to represent us in the conversations that actually need to be had for the benefit of Americans. And like, just, if you're offended by the statement, you should be American to be a representative of Americans. Like, that's just duh. Like, that's everybody. If you want to be a representative of the Chinese, you should probably be Chinese. If you want to be a representative of Ethiopians, you should probably be from Ethiopia. Like, that's kind of how it works, is you kind of should be in the group that you're representing. And if you're not really conservative, if your interests are to get the United States to help your country, if you're not American, if you're not in any way associated with the future of the conservative movement, the America First movement, then we don't want you here. We don't want you in the conversation. Get lost. Go make Indonesia great again. Like, go do your own thing. So anyways, that's my thoughts on this. If you made it all the way through the video, I appreciate it. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And thank you for watching.